That is 100% true. However, good morning. We are glad that you are with us. Yeah, that is true. Although I did read the instructions on this one. It said lots of water, empty stomach. So that's what I did.
Is that part of your 60-day challenge, following directions?
Say it again.
Is that part of your 60-day challenge, following directions?
No. I couldn't last a week following directions.
I think it depends on who's giving the directions.
If I'm giving them to myself, yes. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
What they're for.
I like being told.
Yeah, I don't like being told what to do. So if you're telling me what to do, no.
Yes.
If I asked, then that's a little different. If I asked for someone's opinion, or then I might listen. I have a better chance. But yeah, if you just tell me, I don't like being told what to do. Who does?
Depends.
Well, I'm sure there are people who like that. It depends. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I think that's why I could never be in the military. I would just end up like peeling potatoes. Did they still make you do that? Or in the brig or whatever they call it? That's where I'd spend all my time.
I don't know.
Or I'd just be kicked out.
It's back when you're 18, you don't know any better, so you listen.
I was worse when I was younger, if that says anything. I have gotten much better about compliance as I've gotten older.
Yeah. You're still just ignorant enough to know that they think, at 18, you think the world has all this influence and power. You don't realize that you can control it. Yeah.
And then you realize people just they grow up, but they still don't know what they're doing. Yeah. I don't know. I would you go in the military? That isn't, we have no topic again, but would you ever want to be in the military? We just found out that, I don't think it's a secret. Michelle, our new intake coordinator, was in the Army.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I mean, kudos for that, because I respect that, but I couldn't do it.
I listened to the naysayer, so I didn't go in. How funny is that?
Do you wish you would have?
That's a hard one. It was so funny. Top Gun, that was always, I grew up as a little boy, obviously watching that. I wanted to fly jets and stuff. And so we went to see that this weekend, and I started to have that because we had this conversation last week. I was sitting there in the middle of this movie going like, I was told it's something you can never do. I didn't have the grades to get in the Air Force Academy, and then no, you don't want to go in the Navy. You'll end up going there, but you'll be a mechanic or something. You won't be the fighter pilot kind of thing. And so, yeah, I got talked out of it.
I don't like uniforms. I don't like being told what to wear. I don't like being told where to go, what to do. So I just think I would not be a good candidate. I don't know. Unless I was in charge. And even then I'd be like, yeah, but I'm not going to wear that today. Or we'd be changing the dress code. I don't like those hats. Maybe we just need to mix it up a little bit. I don't know. Watching all, and please don't take this the wrong way, but watching all the men post about Top Gun right now is hilarious to me. Because it's like every adult male just turned into like a 12-year-old boy.
That's right. Have you seen it?
No, not yet.
Well, then you can't comment yet.
It's pretty awesome.
I can though. Unreal. I'm sure it is. I like the first one, but I just think it's funny that it's like every.
Yeah, but it's one of those. I was so nervous because how do you top literally the first one? And so when you actually get done with this one, it's pretty pleasantly surprising how awesome it is.
Yeah, especially the beach scene. 10 out of 10.
Okay, that was my only negative, but I'll leave that alone.
What was your only negative?
The beach scene. They could have done without the beach scene. I mean, it was like, all right, we're trying to relive the volleyball scene, but whatever.
Oh, was Val Kilmer in it? Did I hear?
Yes.
Okay, I am a big fan of his, and
Yep.
I'm like the only person that still likes him fat. Just to be controversial, everyone's like, but he got fat. I don't care. He's still Val Kilmer.
Well, doesn't he have the throat stuff
now? But I think he kind of got out of shape and before the cancer. Now I think he does have that, but I don't know.
It's sad to see.
So I don't really care. He could weigh 300 pounds and he's still Val Kilmer.
It's one of those brings tears on moments, I'll put it that way, because it is reality for him. But
and then pray don't want to watch that movie.
Yeah, there's emotions in there. Oh my goodness, you'll have to deal with it.
No, thank you. No, thanks. Have you seen it back?
No, I don't like Tom Cruise. So
That's
It's all right.
fair.
Wow. Okay.
Some people
I
really
won't,
like
I won't go to the movie and see it.
I've actually never met a girl that doesn't like Tom Cruise. Most of the time,
Yeah.
it's guys that don't like Tom Cruise, and I think it's a jealousy thing. And the first thing they say is, he's really short. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't care for him at all. Not
Really?
like at all. Like
Even-
I don't even think he's good looking. Like
Even in the Mission Impossible movies?
I do not like
Ooh,
him.
there's a new Mission Impossible coming out too.
He's like cocky, and I
Well, that's the only
do
thing
it.
that makes him cute. Let's be honest. I mean, he's
No,
pretty average.
It does not make him cute. It makes him
Oh,
uglier.
I
And-
think it's that smile and that that
Yes.
smile makes him cute.
It gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Really?
I do think he looks better now that
Mhm.
he stopped like the fillers and the Botox, and I heard he just stopped all of that and just got a facelift. So I think he looks more natural now.
Hey, if I look that good when I'm his age, holy crap!
That's what I was going to say. I
He's
was like,
insane.
I don't know what he sold to who, but good God, I would do it. He looks amazing. Are
He
you
is in
kidding me?
amazing shape.
He
Yes.
looks better now than he did when he was younger. Like
That's what I'm
Risky Business,
saying.
I didn't think he was attractive back then. In the
I
Risky
can show
Business.
Becky my Tom Cruise picture then.
Is it your screensaver on your phone?
It is not. That would be really weird.
It's me back in the day.
Well, now I want to see it.
Some other time.
You just got done saying how terrible he was, and then you said like,
Yeah,
go
I wanna
watch
see it.
him, like, yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Well, I'm.
I know it doesn't look like it at all, but back in the day, I got, yeah, you look a little like Tom Cruise here from some professional people, so it was kind of cool.
From some professional people.
Yeah, I used to do acting and modeling stuff back in the day.
I've never met a girl like I just think he just has that shit eating grin that is just adorable. Outside of
And
that,
he knows it, and that's what I don't like.
oh,
Oh, so that's the piece.
all right. Okay.
So don't
Well,
be-
I
don't
think
be
it's
confident.
hilarious that all these guys are posting like this is the most amazing thing that has ever happened in the last like 5 years. And
Well,
not
one,
every guy, but a lot of guys are like just totally into it. I mean, beyond.
I think ironically they got lucky with COVID because it caused such a buildup. Like you've just been waiting for this to come out, and so kind of a catch-22. If it would have flopped, it would have been terrible. But for me, one giveaway I'll give is that there's so much flying in this one; it is unreal. Like so, I mean, you could just tell how far advancing movies have come along the way and the reality of it. And so that for me was just constant entertainment the whole time.
Well, and I heard who was the original the girl, his love interest.
Yeah, she didn't get invited back.
Yeah, and she was like, "Well, why would I?" She's like, "I am like aged appropriately, and I'm not skinny." It was her, like literally, she did an article, and
She got offended by it though at first.
yeah, she goes, I wasn't invited back, and she goes, "But then why would I?" She's like, "I actually look my age, and I'm not skinny," and she's like, "No one is going to want to come and relive that." So then I think he kind of like got peace with it, but
Yeah.
it would have been kind of cool if, like in the Ghostbuster movies, they would have put her in like a different role. Maybe if she looked so different, like in a cameo thing, just shoved her in somewhere, like she's the secretary when you walk by. So I'm like, oh, that's her. No, I don't.
There's enough twists and bring you back to the first one in there. That's good. She wouldn't have fit. I mean, not in the storyline. I couldn't after seeing it because there's another feature that pops up that makes sense, and so
Okay. The first one was fine. I mean, it's not. I watched it once. I think like 40 years later, I watched it again or something like that. That
I know
was,
every line.
huh?
What? Really?
No.
Oh,
It's a dude movie for the most part, and I like dude movies. It just
I disagree with that.
Yeah.
like
Dee's with me. Yeah, Dee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And what's his name in the new one? Miles.
Yeah.
Miles Teller
okay,
is
so
the
question:
actor.
do you
Oh, yeah.
say it's not a dude movie just because you like watching the dudes in the movie?
Yes.
Okay.
There's
And
some
it is
tricks.
cool. I don't know. I think your adrenaline gets going when they're zooming all over the place, and yeah,
There's women featured in it too.
yeah.
Not in the way you think either. Yep.
Becky and I will be like, all right, we'll get there someday. Maybe Becky will never get there. I'll be like, yeah, I'll watch it at some point. But
I would only say this.
If it's on, at
If you
some
get to
point
see
in
it
my
and-
life, I'll watch it.
If you can get to see it in an IMAX, I don't think you'll ever get to see it another version. You know what I mean? You want the sound and the feel for sure.
Is that where you saw it?
Mm-hmm.
It's on at the drive-in in Delta right now, so it's a different watching experience.
Did you actually see any of the movie, D?
No,
Just
children
saying,
running
if you
around.
were in a drive-in, yeah,
Driving.
yeah. She was like, "No, my eyes were closed the whole time." I'm excited for the Jurassic Park one. They say it's the
Oh,
last
yeah.
one.
Yeah,
I hope it's not.
I was laughing. The preview for that came on. I was like,
I haven't seen.
there's been Jurassic Park since I was a little kid. That's how crazy this is. Like watching all the evolution of Jurassic Park. It's unreal.
Right.
I hope they keep making them, and it's not the last one.
Right.
I know we were talking the other day though, and I was like, when I seen the preview, and I was like, well, what other movie have they done this many sequels to that are actually like everyone is good?
Right.
I don't think there's one that I don't like or I didn't
Alien.
enjoy.
I agree.
Alien.
Mm.
I don't know if they did that many aliens.
Oh, and then they
Well,
and then
they
because
brought
they
Predator
tie it
in.
in with
Predator.
Predator, and
Yeah.
there's a ton, and Prometheus was
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
That
Oh,
had
yeah.
my girl crush Charlize Theron in it. That one was great. And then they just did the new one with the little boy where I mean, you could make 1,000 of those because again, you can make them different because they fly the whole, like they
Right.
did the one that was off planet. And I don't know. I think all of those are good because it's what you expect is it's Predator or Alien. I mean, it's not like you're really getting good acting and plot. I mean, you know what I mean? So they can make like 1,000 and you're like, yeah, it was great. Things jumped out. There's a lot of blood and running and screaming and
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
Alien versus Predator was my favorite one out of that one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yep.
I just watched, I'd seen it before, but I didn't remember it. I couldn't sleep the other night and I watched Jason versus Freddy.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
That one was not its best.
It was not very good, no.
That was not, yeah. And then I watched, they have a new Nightmare on Elm Street. So it's supposed to remake the very original one.
Oof.
And it's not the same guy. Freddy's not the same person.
I don't know
And
if that guy's
so-
still around.
Even if they would have kept his face the same and like made the guy's voice different, I think I could have followed. But his face doesn't even look the same. It's burned, but it's not the same Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy face. And the whole time I was like, he just didn't seem as scary to me. I'm very
I
disappointed.
wonder why they would change his face.
That's the thing, right? Like I get maybe the guy can't do it anymore because he's got to be like in his 80s at this point.
Mhm.
He was old when he did those movies.
Mhm.
But okay, so he doesn't do the voice. Who cares? But no, they changed his face completely. And I was like, I don't know. And they
No,
made it kind of, he was kind of like a pedophile. I mean, not that Freddie kind of was, I guess, when you look back at it now that I think about it, but this one was more.
That was
don't
the
know.
whole scheme of how he got burnt and everything.
Yeah, but this one was much more like focused on that, I guess. Where it's like, okay, I apparently missed that when I was like 13, and I was like, what? The bad news.
That's the whole premise.
I know. I guess I just missed it. I just went for the claws and the waterbed and the nail. I wasn't.
Well, you don't really think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess when you're, you rule it out. Look at the two of them. GTS.
Yeah.
I'm looking.
GTSing it. It's on Netflix or Prime or something right now, but I don't know. I was just like totally disappointed. His face was different, and I don't know.
I didn't even hear anything about it. We'll have to watch it.
I didn't either. I never even went, but I was again couldn't sleep and sure, man down. Man
Killed
down.
my monitors.
Fine.
There you guys are.
But yeah, Jurassic Park. They say this is the last one, but I don't know if it's the last one with just these characters
No way.
or the last one. They say it's the final chapter.
Trying to figure out. It was Robert Englund who played it this
Yes.
year.
Yeah,
What is he? Let's see.
he's got to be in his 80s now.
75.
Okay, sorry, Robert. Might have been the skin
Poor
care.
guy's like, oh, hey, might have been the skin.
Yeah, it might have been how I picture you with the nails and that skin. So, like,
Well, we were little kids when that came out. Think about it. Like, we were, that was a terrifying movie, that first one.
I thought the first one was really scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to admit that one kind of rocked my world a little bit. I'm much more of a Michael Myers fan overall for the genre, like for the whole series.
You know what's funny is so is my niece, but she's 3, so it's weird.
Freddy Krueger or Michael Myers?
What's that?
Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger?
Michael Myers. And so last Halloween, my niece, who was actually like, no, she was still 3 at the time, was walking around town with a little cardboard knife dressed as Michael Myers. And everyone is like, what is going on?
That's awesome.
She's like, Michael Myers.
We're like, so Halloween is not for several months, but okay.
That's okay. Harper wants to be Harley Quinn this year, and she's 4.
Love it. Well,
Yeah.
she has cool
Like,
hair.
how do I dress that one up as Harley Quinn at 4?
Well, just
That's a dad
put on
thing.
tights instead of shorts. And just get the t-shirt a little big and you'll be
Yeah,
fine.
she wants me to be the Joker. I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Oh. Which one though?
That's what I said. Which Joker? Oh, this thing.
Oh, wait, I thought of the Penguin.
I think I would do Heath Ledger. No,
Remember
there's
the
multiple.
Penguin, Danny DeVito as the Penguin. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and the new one, he's different looking too. You're
Yeah.
right. There is multiple Jokers, and there's.
I haven't seen the newest one out. Is that with Robert Patterson?
The newest one's great. Yeah,
Okay, I haven't. I'm having a hard time with him being the Batman. I got
because of Twilight.
Yeah, because I have to admit, like watching that, I was.
I didn't even know it was him until somebody pointed that out to me. I'm like, oh, because I didn't watch those movies. But
Yeah,
I
I was a
see
little
how
bit older
girls-
when those came out, but I wasn't apparently old enough to be like a boring housewife that was really into the which one are you picking? Remember that? Where all the adult women were going with their young kids to watch it, and you were either team
you're asking
one
the
or
wrong
the
person.
other. Do you remember when that was a thing? The vampire or the
Werewolf.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was like they were a little older, but I wasn't young enough to really because he just looks frail in that movie. Doesn't he?
Not in Batman. He did pretty good.
I think he beefed up for that, but he looks frail in the vampire one, just like he has like he has pneumonia. He just looks like he needs like a little like an Italian dinner.
Trail. I can't figure it out.
Well, I know it's the vampire thing, but even in real life, if you see him, he's super pale and just real kind of frail, and you just go, "Are you okay?
He's just a little guy.
You need help." Yeah, because just a little guy. Like
He's
he
like
just
Tom Cruise. He's a little guy.
he needs
Just a little
cookie.
guy.
He needs a cookie. I don't know, but
Well,
yeah, so
it's
I
Tom
can't
Cruise, let's
get
see.
into him being Batman. Although Michael Keaton, I didn't think I was going to do him as Batman either, and he was okay.
He was the best, in my opinion.
He had the jaw that fit
Mhm.
the thing, and then I didn't think what's his name I was going to get into, Ben Affleck.
Oh no!
Oh,
he was-
yeah.
that was
His was kind of dark. His Batman was kind of that's
I
a
did not-
darker Batman than the other ones.
I did not care for Ben in that role.
Who is your favorite Batman?
Michael Keaton for sure.
Michael Keaton is.
hmm
I thought,
But the other one, Christian Bale, did pretty
Yeah.
good too.
I'd have to go with Christian Bale. I think.
Yeah, that
George
was
Clooney, but I just it's George Clooney. I can't get out of George
No.
Clooney to get him into Batman. Does that make
No.
sense? Like,
I was so mad when it was Clooney. I was like, give me a break.
yeah, I was like, I can't George Clooney him to
Right.
Batman him up. Same thing I think with Patterson. I'm struggling with that one,
yeah.
but I don't know. I think I would have to go with Christian Bale on that one. You guys too?
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have
Hard to
to.
give up the. Well, he's not even the original, but it's hard for the original for me. Michael Keaton. It was a hard
I
one. to give up.
I liked him, but again, he's Mr. Mom, and I just remember he's
What a great movie. Yeah.
yeah, he's Michael Keaton, and he's just not quite as. I think Christian Bale's a little tougher, so maybe that's why. I don't know. Well, and they've gone. How many Jokers have they had now? The original Joker was.
Well, I couldn't even do the original. I had to Google it. You're talking the
fine.
original like cartoon series one?
No. The original Batman that came out where Michael Keaton, because it had the Penguin,
Oh, Jack.
Jack Nicholson.
Nicholson.
Yep.
oh, yeah.
I'm
He was
sorry,
fantastic,
he
too.
cannot beat Jack Nicholson.
Heath Ledger is my favorite.
He was just so dark. He and is it Phoenix?
That's a different story
Joaquin
too. Yeah,
Phoenix?
Joaquin Phoenix did a twisted Joker, and that was awesome too. Yeah,
Those are I think it's whoever wrote it or the producer or whatever changes it a little bit to make it darker, or I don't know.
it's about their character, So those are specific. That movie was specific to the Joker.
More freaky. I don't know. I was very disappointed in the Harlequin movie that came out. Don't tell Harper that, but Birds of Prey.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even
I
watch
was
it.
too.
It was okay. It just was not what I expected. It was
she's hard to beat in that first one. What was the first one with all the characters? I'm drawing a blank right now. Suicide Squad. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It just, I don't know. It was kind of, I don't know. I had
And that's my least favorite Joker. What's his name?
Jared Leto.
Yeah, that was my least favorite Joker.
I like Jared Leto though.
He's weird.
You talk about scrawny.
There's something about him I like though. I don't know. I can't wait to see Morpheus, but you have to buy it now. You can't even rent it. Otherwise, I would have rented it this weekend while I was like dying. But you can't. You have to buy it, and I'm like, I don't want to buy it. What if it's bad? And then now it's like in my I don't even know how to access a movie I buy anyway, so I don't know if that's going to matter. But
I've never pre-ordered a movie, and I already pre-ordered Top Gun. That should tell you something.
see, all you guys, I think it's just cute. Because most guys don't get excited over movies or anything, and it's just like the whole like, oh my god, did you see it? It's like the first thing out of everybody's mouth. Like,
Well, I think it's funny. My son was like harping on me on the new Batman. We went to the movies, and then you could pre-order it right out of it, and I refused. But as soon as I walked out of Top Gun, I'm like, yep, buying that one.
that's funny. Will you watch it over and over again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, Top Gun was a drinking game. We used to do that. We used to see who could get the farthest in the movie, like line by line.
High school when it came out, I think.
You were?
Yeah. When did it come out? Yeah. Why are you shaking
Well, maybe.
your head?
It was, when did it come out? 80?
Let me look.
How old
You were
do
in high school in the 80s?
Yes. How old do you think I am?
I was trying to give you credit here. Come on now. I could go back to Star Wars. Were you in high school in Star Wars?
I wasn't even born yet.
It was, I'm sorry, what year was it?
86.
86. May 86. And
Yeah,
I
it was
born
16.
Yeah.
So you were just in high school.
Yeah, it was 16 when it came out.
Oh, how cute. Sweet 16.
You weren't born in 86?
That was
Yeah,
an
I
80s
was.
movie too.
I was born in November, so I was still percolating.
Look at Becky's face. I just don't even
Percolating.
understand how you guys even like deal in the world if you were not born in the 70s. Like, I don't even. 86,
Well, it's like all the references and everything else. Like, how do you even like?
right? Like, yeah.
I was there. I was a 70s kid. For a
I
year.
feel like you missed like such a huge part of life. Like, I don't know, like walkie-talkies and bikes and arcades and like roller skating rinks, all the first like Ataris that came out that we were all so excited to like literally all we did in a video game was move this thing up and down.
Yeah, Pong.
Down. Yeah, that was it. Up and down. You couldn't go
You
anywhere
had that
else.
joystick. You're like,
Down, yeah. You could kind of go forward and back, but only like this far. And then it was just up and down, up and down.
that's like when Pitfall came out. It was like, holy crap, they're actually moving and you're jumping and
Right?
all that stuff. in
Floppy
the toy.
disk. Do you remember that going to the library for the one computer? I remember my elementary school had one in the library and you had to like book it months in advance. And when you got there, you were like, I don't even want to do it today. And you had to put that disc in that someone had like bent several times to play Oregon Trail or something that was stupid.
Oh, we
remember
had
when first-
Oregon Trail. We
Probably like on your computers, not like a floppy disk in the library.
Yeah.
Okay, Sarah, not everyone had to do the actual Oregon Trail. You're in your covered
Well,
wagon.
That was Chip. Chip had to like cut down trees. That's why his back's so bad.
I remember when we first got the first Apple computer and we had remember you could do the turtle and you had to angle the turtle and you could send it and cover the screen and stuff.
Yep. Oh
And that
my
was
god.
like crazy technology. Like, holy cow.
And we all had like typewriters at home because that you had to like type your report sometimes or you wanted to. And then one kid got like a home computer. And you're always like, oh, I think I need to date him so that I can go write my report on that computer.
How about, do you remember the old printer paper that had the side?
Yeah.
with the tear off?
And you tear the paper and be like, son of a. Then you had to tape it.
Yep.
Yeah. And that paper you had to put in to like go back the corrective tape.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
And it would like mess
Light
the
up
whole
tape.
word up. Oh my God. You'd like stick it, you like, and then it would be on your, oh, that was so funny. It was, I have to admit, like there are things back in our day that were amazing. Like just going outside and playing and your parents, like they didn't know where you were just gone. You were like, you just went outside until the street lights came in and then you had to come home. Like nobody, maybe that's why I have a problem with authority. Like no one knew where you were. You just, like did whatever you wanted to, and I don't know, came home, and if you didn't like, you weren't bleeding, you were fine, you know, but you always had to like go get Band-Aids, or I don't know, maybe I was a little rougher than you guys were, but
No, I used to disappear for all day with $1 because we could go to 7-Eleven or whatever, or you'll know this in Arvada, we used to go to Blackjack Pizza. You could get bread branches and a drink for $1. Like it just was like a, so that's what we did and rode for miles on our bicycles.
yep. We go to the park, and I mean, we go to people's houses, you jump around and you'd eat all their food. Poor parents. I mean, I cannot even imagine. We would just gorge. You go to like one person, you knew they had best food, so you always went there first, and then you go to the next person's house, and then no, we haven't eaten, and their mom's making pizza rolls for you. Did they still have pizza rolls?
Not pizza roll. We had what are those like Tostino's pizzas? Those like
Oh yeah.
those ones. We had those all the
But
time.
did they have the little pocket things that you would put in the oven and you
Yeah,
bite
but
into them, and they
We didn't do those. Yeah, we didn't do those.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh my gosh, those were like the bomb. And you'd have to like, you'd wait for them to get out of the oven, and then it was always be like you'd want someone to do it first because it would burn the roof of your mouth off. It was so hot.
How about this? I was thinking about this the other day. Think about when you went to your friend's house. Did you just walk into your friend's house all the time?
Mhm.
Yeah. Can you imagine having that happen now? I'd be like, what are you doing in my house? Like,
We never knocked on the door. We
yeah,
just
you never
walked
know.
in
You went in the
like,
garage door in the house and you went and try to find
hey,
like,
Mrs.
what are you
L,
doing?
what's up? You know? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I had a friend literally that I climbed in her window. We didn't even use her front door.
Right.
She had this little, I don't know, this little box thing. It probably covered something, and you just hopped up on that and slid in her window on the side of the house. We never even used the front door. So, or the back door. That was a thing. Back doors were,
Mm-hmm.
because you locked the front door, but the sliding door or whatever in the back was always open. So, yeah, which is so weird too. Why were parents all weird about your front door? But you can go in and out of the back door all day long, but don't go in and out of the front.
I don't
The
know.
back door. What? Okay. What is that gonna? That was weird. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I
use the side gate. Go to the side gate. Get around the back.
Okay. What are you hiding me? Yeah. Are you afraid I'm going to be seen at your house? I don't know. And teeping. Do you remember how big of it?
Oh,
I
yeah.
was talking to someone the other day about that.
That would be
Like,
fun. We should do that.
we teepeed all the time.
Yep.
That was like our Friday, Saturday. I mean, like we teepeed people constantly. We never egged anybody. We didn't do anything bad like that.
Damaging, yeah.
No. But teeping was the best.
Our thing was always saran wrapping cars.
That was later. That was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good joke.
Never did that.
That was a good joke.
We would saran wrap toilets. Have you ever done that?
Mhm.
So you put the saran wrap and then the
Lid
things.
down.
That's not nice either because gross.
It's very messy.
We took, we were house sitting one of my parents' friends, and we took all their labels off their cans in their pantry.
You really had time to kill.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we did all kinds of stuff. He
There's
was
no
a,
video games then. You know what it is?
he was
Hey,
a
well,
pastor at the church, and so we took one of each of his shoes, and we set alarm clocks all through the house. We short sheeted the bed, put Rice Krispies in it. We put their it was a joke, but we took all their cans, all the labels off. So I mean, for months, she was laughing because she'd open up a can and be like, "I don't forget to have peaches or peas," you know. And she's still alive. She's like 90 something actually, but. We used to do some of that fun stuff, right? Or in the middle of the night, it was someone's birthday. And I remember being woken up and it's like, it's Bob's birthday. Okay, Bob's not my friend, but I couldn't stay home in the middle of the night alone. So I had to get in the car and go. And then they would make like exploding cakes, or they'd bake stuff with stuff in the cake or whatever. And you'd go wake someone up at 1 a.m. for their birthday. That was a big thing. No,
I did that.
yeah.
Hide and seek was huge for us.
I prefer you just take me out to dinner when I'm awake.
I'm not getting up at 1 a.m. Bake someone an explosion cake.
I know it was kind of fun though because it was.
I'm sure it was fun. I've never
We
heard
should
of
write
it.
all these down and we'll pull 80s pranks for the next month and see what we can do.
It was. I mean, it was kind of cute, you know, because you're ringing the doorbell and they don't know when you're coming, and
Mhm.
everyone's in their jammies, and you know.
Or yeah, or door dashing. Remember, like you'd hit the doorbell and run. And how dangerous that was. Like you'd be all scared.
There's a doorbell, yeah, or you'd make the prank calls.
Yeah.
Refrigerator working, you know, or whatever. I don't even remember what they were. You know,
Running.
running. Better go catch it or something. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We did a bunch of those.
Mhm.
Or you liked a boy and you'd call, and then he wouldn't
Hang up.
answer, so then you hang up. I do feel bad about how many hang-ups I did in the course of my youth.
I did that a lot too. If the parents answered, I would just hang up, and then he'd call back, and he's like, "Why did you hang up?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
It wasn't me.
You could do that until caller ID came out. You
Yeah.
could be like, it wasn't me. And then, like, but thanks for thinking it was me. And then caller ID came out and you were screwed unless you know.
Or you just star 69 and called back. Yep. Like,
Yeah. Or you didn't want anyone on the phone because before call waiting, it would be busy and you're like, they're going to call. So you
Stay
can't be
off.
on the phone. Yeah.
that's something like I was telling my son that the other day. I was like, you don't even remember the day of one phone in the house. Like, you have no concept of that. Like, you had to be, everybody heard your conversation, or you hope you got
Oh my gosh. And you would be
long
like,
cord,
stop
like you're trying to get
talking.
around the corner and you're like, shh,
You'd ask a question, be giggling, and then someone would come up and you'd be like,
yeah.
hmm.
Yeah.
And then they'd ask a question, be like, yeah, I did that homework. Oh, your parents walked in? Yeah. Like you were even saying anything that was at that point. You weren't, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just weird.
Well, I was watching, it's called a River Runs Through It. I don't know if you've ever seen that with Rob Reif or whatever. And so in that movie, the same thing happens, right? They have to answer the phone, but it was the old crank kind of phone back then. And it only had a cord like maybe that long. And so he's trying to talk to the girl he likes, and it's right there. So I was telling him, like, yeah, we at least had cords. And then we got the cordless phone, and that was like the danger.
Oh.
Where are you going with the cordless phone, and like where you could take it to? And yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Because the cord, and then it would stretch out, and it, would be that thing that would rat, and it'd get caught, and you're pulling on it, and you get yelled at. Stop stretching out the cord.
You'd overstretch it and it wouldn't twirl back up the way it was.
Yes. And then you'd be like, well, why don't you just get a longer cord? Just sit here at the counter and use the phone. Because we had a bar right there, and so you'd have to sit on the bar stool at the counter and talk. I mean,
That was always funny. Do you remember?
when the antenna came up? Oh my gosh, that was like magic.
I was thinking the other day too. It always seemed like that phone was hanging in the hallway, right? It was like that long cord, and it was like the phone was in the hallway instead of being somewhere else. It was like, I don't know if electricians had a standard back then or something. Like, this is where the phone.
Why wasn't it in the living room by
Yeah,
the
it was.
couch
No, it was always in like the hallway.
or by the kitchen?
Yeah.
I remember it like in the hallway, kind of by the kitchen. So that's why I said it was like the kitchen, and then there was a bar. It was on the other side by the door.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, why would you put it by the sofa in the living room? But it was never there. Well, I think you didn't talk on the phone to talk on the phone then. Oh, back then, you talked on the phone like because you needed something, and then you hung up. Right? I don't think people really talked like for hours on the phone until our generation.
Our generation, the kids, I would say.
We didn't have phones in the house all the time.
Yeah.
So I think that was different. So you guys know the show Ridiculousness?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can watch that show for
Oh,
hours.
it's so hilarious. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's like what I'm like, okay, I have to stop watching this. I'm just getting dumber. And yet I still just keep watching it. But so they were talking about I remember what the subject was, but they had the phone, the rotary dial phone. Remember
Mhm.
so a woman was videotaping her son trying to use it. They were at their grandma's house.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
It was so funny. So he dialed the number, but he didn't pick up the receiver first. He'd dial it, and then he'd pick up the receiver, and he's like, "It's just that weird tone." And he'd hang it up, and he'd do it again, and you can hear like the adults laughing so hard, and they're like, "Pick it up," and he goes, "I did," and they're like, "Before," and so he's like, "What?" So he picks it up. And then he's like, sets it down and dials again. And they're like, no, you have to stay on. And I just thought, how funny you'd have to explain that to someone, but you would.
Yeah.
Right. And then when we got the touch tone, do you remember how like we thought that was, and you could like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was pretty impressive. And you had the list of numbers by the phone.
Yep.
Yes.
too.
Oh, God, in your phone book. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You always had you had to pull it out because you couldn't remember everybody's number.
Yeah.
Do you guys still write on your hands? Or am
Every
I
now
the
and
only adult that writes on my hands still?
I will every now and then. That's all I got.
Yeah, I do too. I was in the car with you. We're driving home, and I have a piece of paper, and so I just wrote on my hand.
Mhm.
And then I got crap for it because what adult still writes on their hand? And I was like, well, I was on my phone, so I couldn't like put notes in my phone. I didn't have a piece of paper. What am I going to write on?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is that still a thing that kids do? Do your kids do that, Drew?
Drawing them? No, not.
Like you write on your hand, you come up with someone's number or a note or something. I always had stuff on I always had writing on my hand.
No, they're so used to their dang phones. It's like, you have to watch it because like, hey, quit texting. Well, actually, I'm taking notes, and like, they actually have like their stuff on. I mean, it's like, oh crap! Like,
That's what I say too when I'm not taking notes.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like you don't know what they're doing anymore. Like that's kind of their evolution's crazy, you know. Or
I
their
mean, I do
screenshot.
sometimes do notes, but
Yeah.
most of the time I'm not. I would be like, I'm taking notes, and then I wouldn't be. But
Well, think about that. I was thinking the other day we were talking at practice and like joking around about it, but this, like, imagine having this in school. Remember we had the TI calculators where you could actually type in your answers and hide it and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Imagine taking away their phones now because they get them taken away.
oh, was that the giant, huge calculator thing?
It was the
Yeah, it is.
graphing calculator you had to have. That like you had to. That was the big expense. Your parents had to go buy one. It was like a couple $100 or whatever. For
I think I got out of that class for some reason.
Yeah.
I didn't like math in school, so
No, I didn't either.
took as little math as I could, and I think I maybe got out of that one.
Yeah, I was the anti-math in English, and then I go into a profession where I was like, damn it, I use that every day. Like I should have been paying attention.
I like math for math in like the everyday stuff, like, you know, linear feet, right? Because if you're doing countertops or flooring, or if you're like, you know, square footage, because you're trying, like, that's everyday use of math, and like, okay, adding and subtracting and I get all that. But do I really need to find X? When in my adult life have I ever really been like, oh my God, where's X? What is X? I can't function without X. Not once.
Famous. That was my famous last words. And like, when am I ever going to use trig or calculus again in my life? Right? I was like, this is stupid. Then I get into accident reconstruction, and it was like, oh. Then so I had to go back and relearn everything.
Because honestly, for your profession, all the rest of us had to sit through that shit. To teach people who need it. Don't make me take it. I'm never going to go into accident
No, I agree. I had to relearn it again anyway. So the whole point was like I had to relearn it again. You know.
See?
Yeah.
I just teach what we need to teach. Like, give us all that. Give us normal stuff, like, I don't know, taxes, and you know, like,
which isn't
how
as
to
important
replace the
now, but-
toilet. You know, the insides of a toilet, things we all use every day. Like, I just think let's make school more about that, like practical stuff, and then go to your career path and get all of that little special stuff that you need.
That
No,
or I'm going to
learning
sound.
the recorder was very important.
Yeah, music was fantastic.
Not dying from
I
that.
forgot where she was going with that for a second. I'm like, what? Oh,
Or the bells are all ping, ping. I think it was just
The
our trying to
triangle.
make trust you.
Triangle piece. Yeah, I think
I
she
played
did
the triangle
recorder
every
in a
night.
different way, though. I think Chip would have gotten that. Is that what you meant about playing the recorder? You didn't mean the musical instrument.
I did not mean it like that.
Right, that's what I mean. But I was thinking of that pink stuff that it was always in. Do you remember? They'd be in those big, like, in school. We didn't have our own. That was back in the day before we cared about
Sure.
germs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they had those big jars. You know, they're the huge pickle jars at the fair. I mean, they're gigantic. So think of it, the recorder could go in it. And it was pink fluid that was like some disinfecting fluid. So our music teacher would, at the beginning of the class, he'd like open that up and he'd walk around and he'd pull one out and it's dripping wet, hand it to you. And you're like, okay. And it tastes like the disinfectant. And then at the end, he'd walk around, same jar, same disinfectant fluid, not change it. And you'd put your recorder back in there and he'd seal it up and put it in the closet till next time.
well, I wasn't lucky enough to have
Yeah.
mine disinfected.
And then I heard like,
I'm kind of glad I did it.
and I was like, what, you have your own? We had to like share kazoos.
Yeah, we had our own.
No.
I didn't. Yeah.
And
no.
you never knew which one you got, and you could have gotten like Billy's, and Billy, like, you don't want Billy's.
Why's it got to be a Billy?
I don't know. That's just the name I thought of. No idea why.
Teasing.
Could have been a Susie. I don't know. Billy, you were like, please don't let it be Billy's. Please don't let it be Billy's. But so you'd shake it, you know, at each other's face, and you'd get that stuff in your eye. We were
I
terrible.
never had that. Holy crap.
That's why, like, when Chip, I wish Chip was here because he's so germophobic for someone in medicine. Like, he is the most. I said, we need to schedule an in-person meeting. And he's like, you're sick. You ride on an ambulance and you work in the ER.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, but that's more trauma. You don't get to pick. Someone who has trauma might be like
Mm-hmm.
COVID full, whatever. And I don't even have COVID. And he's like, yeah, but you don't know what you have. You don't know what anyone in the hospital or the ER has. He's like, well,
I
that's
think
why
he just doesn't want to see you.
I'm like, can you imagine him coming in as like the Michelin man? Because he's got the whole thing in the
Got a full
suit.
suit.
How are you feeling?
SCBA. Yeah.
Right. So I went to the doctor yesterday just to tout on, because no one knows who I saw.
Oh, finally.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you hear my post about, I couldn't really tell the whole story, but it's a 5-year-old. And he was walking around school and he was flipping everybody off because he thought it was funny, and he got in trouble and they kept punishing him and doing stuff and he wouldn't stop. And he'd do it at church and at the grocery store. And it was like, and he's 5, like this adorable little kid that just thinks it's funny. So this adult at the school was like, hey, that's kind of out now. And he's like, what do you mean? And he's like, if you really want to get people like upset, do the thumbs up. So now he walks around, he's like to everybody, well, they think he's giving them the thumbs up. So you have like these 90-year-old people going, and he's like, you just flipped me off. And it's the cutest story ever. So I was like, that's my new thing now. I'm just going to be like, and you know what I mean? But super cute. But anyway, I went to Kaiser and I think that my doc was paranoid that I had COVID. Because I said, I tested, it's negative, right? And I said, so I told him ahead of time, I go in and I have a mask. You have to wear a mask in Kaiser now, right? So I have a mask on, I follow the rules, I go in and I get through the thing and she goes, here's a mask. And I go, I'm wearing a mask. And she goes, no, this doctor wants you to have a fresh mask on. I'm sorry, what? Now you get to pick what mask I'm wearing when I'm here? Okay, fine. So I put my mask in my purse. I put the fresh one on. And she is like literally as far when she comes into the room as she can be, right? She's like, hi. And she's gowned up in the gown. She's got a face mask.
Shield.
She has a shield on. She has glasses underneath. No joke.
Yep.
She has on 2 pairs of gloves.
Yep.
And things on her feet. And I'm like, I told you I'm negative for that. I think I just have like bronchitis or pneumonia or something. And so she's trying to talk to me. Well, I'm congested anyway. And so now I have this over my face and she's like, I can't hear you.
Well, no shit. Get closer.
You're across the room and you're wearing like full on protective gear and I am congested and you can't hear me. And she like did not want to touch me. And then she asked me like 5 times. And then she goes, well, what COVID test did you take? And I said, well, the one that the state gave us, because I explained I own a healthcare company and it's the one that the state wanted us as healthcare workers to use. She goes, well, those aren't always reliable. You can get a false negative. Well, then I'm sorry. Why is it? Okay. So then the kicker to this, after she gets done, she's like, go get a chest x-ray, all this stuff. Fine. She's like, you have pneumonia. Here's your stuff. Go down and pick up your antibiotic and the inhaler. And I said, okay. So I go into line. Guess what they have right at the counter where you buy your stuff? It says for Kaiser patients, now you can test at home. It's the same thing we have.
Yeah.
Well, if it's so bad, Kaiser, why are you selling that kit then?
Yeah, because they're.
And then she goes, they have the 4th booster. I'd highly recommend. I mean, once you're not sick, that you go do that. I was like, you know what? I highly recommend you take all that crap off and realize that you're not going to die and the whole world's going to go on. Like she just had no bedside. Like I'm not whining when I don't feel good. You guys know that I'm tough. Like but a little like compassion would have been nice. Like, oh, I'm sorry you don't feel. No, didn't even get it. I'm sorry you don't feel good. Like, why did you wait 2 weeks? You were in a gown. Like basically you might as well worn here in here. I was trying to like not. Oh my God, what is wrong with you?
That reminds me of when my first exposure I got during COVID was like 3 weeks into COVID, right? So it was still like, we're going to die. Everybody's going to die thing. And it was the same kind of treatment where that was the first time I felt like I was like a specimen, right? Not a human being. It was one of those things where you got to park in the parking lot and then they made us wait until you got a text to come in the building. And then you basically checked your own self in. This is how we had to do a check-in. And then we had to go to the room by itself, which was interesting. But then you walk in and kind of the same treatment was they came in and there was like head to toe, everything on. And then like they're swabbing your nose and it was like I'm not even going to get close to you swab kind of thing. And, it just was like, what are you afraid of? Like, I'm obviously sitting right here. I'm not dying in the moment.
Right.
And it was just, that was the first time I felt like that movie Outbreak. I was like,
I just watched that for the first time with the monkey.
Yeah. The monkey. Yeah.
Yeah. And same thing, right? They all have the suits on and the whole, and I was like, I told you I tested negative. And then I read now Kaiser sends you guys, I don't know if any of you have Kaiser, but or your docs do this, but Kaiser now, due to the medical practice, like open record, whatever, they have to sorry, they have to send you the notes from the visit.
Oh yeah.
Full disclosure. So they have to actually type up what they wrote. So by the time I got home, I got my chest x-ray and I got the after visit thing. And I was on that Chip had called to see what the doc said. I'm sure because he doesn't want to be exposed. And so I was reading it and it says, denies ever having COVID. And I was like, okay, denies? I've never had COVID. And then it was like, denies having a fever. And I know it's just the way she phrased it, but I was like, got really defensive. I'm like, what do you mean deny? I didn't have a fever. I'm not lying. And then she put denies something else. And I was like, oh my God, you're so like aggressive.
It's because she didn't physically check it.
Right.
She did. They did check my fever when I walked in. They checked.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they checked pulse ox, and my pulse ox was.
Well, then why didn't she just say patient doesn't have a fever?
Mm-hmm.
I think this
there's all right that
now.
Right, even if she said
check
patient
something.
reported no fever.
Right.
But it was like denies. I was like, oh my God, that felt so like purposefully aggressive in that report.
I guess so they can blame you.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm not lying. I haven't had a fever. And she's like, does your throat hurt? She must have asked me that 5 times. No. And the only time my throat is hurt is like when I get a coughing fit and I can't stop coughing. And then everything hurts and my chest burns. But no. Are you sure your throat doesn't hurt? Would you like it to? What do you want me to say? Like, I'll say whatever you want.
You just put down whatever you want.
Let me go home. Give me my antibiotics. Yeah, I don't even know at this
You should have
point.
said I have COVID, and then she would have been like, "Oh, COVID."
Right, I knew it.
I knew it.
Well, and then it's funny. I go to get my chest X-ray, and they're totally like chill. I'm like coughing up a storm, right? And I think everyone thinks like I'm gonna like get them sick. So the first thing I walk in and I'm coughing and I go, I don't have COVID. And she goes, it's fine. And she has like this little thin mask on. And at one point she goes, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. And she pulls it down to like listen.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm sorry. And so she's way on the other side of the room. So I pull it down and say something. And she's like, oh, now I can hear you. Don't you hate these? And I thought, okay, same exposure, right? And you have this one woman who's like literally freaked out. And you have someone else who's like, yeah, you know what? I touch people every day. Don't worry about it. And she's like really sweet. She like patted me on the shoulder. She's like, you sound terrible. I'm so sorry you're sick. I was like, well, thank you. At least some compassion up in here.
Someone cares.
Yeah, I didn't say that, but I was like, the pharmacist was actually the most kind out of everybody, which I thought was funny. He was actually like, are you sure you don't have any questions? Do you need anything else? How about this? And he was like so nice, but yeah, I don't know. Just seemed a little over the top. How about you? You just had it. Were they nice to you?
Yeah, you know what's funny is I feel like they were nicer to me when I actually had COVID versus when I didn't, because I went in not that long ago for my allergies. My allergies were really bad, and they did the same thing. They're like, "Are you sure you don't have COVID?" Like, and they worded it the same way, like denies having a fever, denies having COVID, denies. Like, yeah.
Like, I'm not denying. Like, I don't know why that word upset me. And Chip's like, wow, you really need to get over that. And I'm like, well, I think this is one of those times patient feedback. Like, just phrase it differently. Because it does, if you're going to show that report, don't say it like that. It's not what you said, it's how you said it, right? It's not patient reported no fever.
Yeah.
Same thing. But you said deny. It just, I don't know.
And I had to like prove it to them. I had to take in all my allergy medications and like my nose spray and inhaler and everything. I was like, this is all the stuff that I'm doing. I need your help. And they were like,
I asked her if she wanted me to send her a picture of my stick, because that COVID thing, it looked like a lollipop. I'm like, do you want a picture of it? Like, I'll send you a picture of the stick. I didn't think I had to prove it. I realized what I just said.
Oh boy. You get enough of those pictures every day.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to see your
a
stick.
Bat, not a stick. If I was a dude, it'd be a bat, not a stick.
Bat.
Yeah, you want to see a picture of my bat? Not a stick.
Oh, so now it is all about wording and phrasing, huh?
It always is. It's how you. It's what you say. How you say
camera
it.
angles.
And I'm sure there's got to be good lighting for that. That should be a class. Oh, that's terrible. I can see Phil.
There probably is a class. We just don't know about it.
Lighting for your junk. I'm not going to die. So I don't know. What are you guys excited about? Jurassic Park, going back to the movie thing, or any
Oh,
movie
yeah.
coming out? That's the only one I even know coming out besides Top Gun thing. Is there anything else coming out that's good? Because isn't summer all about the movies? It's where you go when it's hot. You don't want to be outside.
I don't know what else is out right now. Bob's Burgers.
Oh, I love that show.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
Bob's Burgers. There's a movie out now. I think it just came out.
Bow's Burgers?
Bob's Burgers.
Bob's.
What is that?
I don't know. Wasn't it a
An
cartoon?
adult cartoon.
Yeah,
Oh,
say.
like Simpsons?
Same
Yes.
idea.
Okay.
I went as Tina one year for Halloween. when
Did
my
you?
hair was
I bet
so-
you that was fantastic.
Oh, it's perfect because I'm just as awkward. So
I guess Drew and I will have to watch that. I'm like, I know
I
Simpsons
have
and
a
I
hard
know,
time cartoons, yeah, with that.
I think I've seen a Family Man once. Is that with the dog that talks?
oh,
Yeah.
Family Guy.
Family Guy.
Family Man, Family Guy. I think I've seen that
Mhm.
once. I haven't. I got over the Simpsons after like the second season. I don't know why they're still going.
Mm-hmm.
You can only have like donuts so many times.
I remember we weren't even allowed to wear the "Eat My Shorts" shirt to
Oh,
school
yeah.
then.
No, remember how upset everyone was when that came out because it was so raunchy and offensive,
Mm-hmm.
and then South Park came out.
Yeah, South Park's awesome. Yeah.
That just
Well, when are we
made-
doing Casa Bonita as a company? That's what we need to do.
is that open now? I kept
end of-
saying it was open, and everyone said it wasn't. And so we didn't know.
because they just went through all the
Yeah,
purchase.
they're
Let me see.
We have to get the table by the waterfall, though. How do you get that? Like, do you have to know someone who works there?
they're still closed.
You have to reserve it.
Oh, if anyone knows anyone who works at Casa Bonita, we need their name and number so we can get hooked up before we go.
Casa
We need
Bonita,
the VIP treatment if we're going to go to Casa Bonita.
December.
What?
Christmas party.
There you go.
This
Christmas
summer.
party at Casa Bonita.
What are they doing?
I'm gonna go off the waterfall. I'm gonna dive off.
Oh my God, I would so pay money to bet you to do that.
I would do it. I
You
can't-
go to jail now if you do that.
You always have gone to jail for doing that. Yeah,
But I think it's more like severe now because people kept going. Who
just
cares?
trespassing. Yeah,
Oh, really? Like
Yeah.
now he doesn't
Trespassing. It's fine.
Is TPing illegal?
just a ticket.
Do you get a
Mm.
ticket for that now if you TP?
It's got a damaged property,
Okay.
so you could because if you left it or did something, technically you could.
If you left it, well, the whole point is leaving it. I'm not going to do it and then go clean it up. That's the worst.
But if it damaged, the property,
Oh.
that's why egging is so dangerous. That you can literally get to a felony level pretty quick on paint.
Oh, especially on cars, that yoke will stick like crazy.
I mean, kids don't know that, which is horrible because they get hit with a felony for doing something stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I think that's why
Stick to toilet paper, easy.
Well, and if it rains, that's the worst because then
Mhm.
it's wet. You can't get it down and you have to almost wait for it to that's when we were always, yes, we knew it was going to rain. And that's terrible, but
Or if you got it too high in the tree, where that was your goal, you had to get it as high as you could.
you would throw it and sometimes the whole roll would just go and you're like, son of a gun. And then every once in a while, yeah, you got that glory throw and then the tail would spit, and it would, yeah. Look how stupid. CD, did you have that growing up? Did you guys
Oh
do
yeah.
Okay. All right. I just
I
think
don't know.
now do not understand the joy of throwing a roll of toilet paper and seeing the tail start to launch off and just being like, you just did the perfect throw. Like,
What's so funny is it was so
Thing.
common with our age. Do you remember going to the grocery store and you'd buy them and the clerk would look at you like,
oh, because
What
you
are
were
you
like
doing tonight?
teenagers buying
Yeah.
like
that's what I'm saying, yeah.
packages and it would
But
be
you-
like,
You never see it anymore. I can't
You
remember the last
talked
time I
about.
saw a TP'd house. I don't know the last time I saw one.
Well,
I heard it was illegal now and you could get ticketed for it. People don't
no, but kids today are like in this economy buying toilet paper.
they'd actually have to have a job.
Because they took their
What I
horse.
afford gas money? Exactly.
Right? I was just saying, do any
$5 a
kids that
gallon.
age now have a job? I feel like that's not a thing anymore.
It's
I don't
too
think about how much it
expensive
would
right
cost.
now.
You have to go buy the toilet paper. You have to have gas in your car to get where you're going to the
True.
house. Yeah, no.
Well, and then you're not playing video games or on your couch in your underwear watching TV, right? So now you have to actually go outside. That's something that and no one wants to do anymore. Put on pants. So that's
You
a whole
have to
nother thing.
coordinate an effort.
Right. Right.
There were so many skills we learned. We didn't even know what we were doing.
Look at, yeah, if you think about
Choreographing,
that, right?
planning, teamwork. Yep.
Yeah, you had to, and you all had to wear black, and there was always
Yep.
that one kid that like had like a bright neon when all that was in. Do you remember that? Like in the 80s, the neon, and you were
Yeah.
like, it's dark. We're supposed to blend in. Well, I didn't think it would glow. Oh, really? So when you learned which one of your friends you'd like,
Yeah. Leave
would
behind.
be okay if you lost them somewhere, because if you were on an island, they wouldn't
Well,
make it.
Then you learned loyalty because when you got caught, did they rat on
Oh,
you? Did
you
they
had
not
to be.
rat on you? So you
Oh,
had, there's a lot of life skills we learned through TPing.
wow, think about that. That is
Mm-hmm.
actually. There's planning, yeah, execution.
Yep.
Yeah, when you got caught, you knew who would the steal lip and who would tell.
Yep. Alibis, all kinds of stuff.
Becky, would you crack? You weren't a cracker. Dee,
No.
you're not a cracker, are you? Would you tell?
No.
Yeah. I know Drew's not.
The only time I told when I was a kid, we were playing.
Oh, see here, she's the cracker out of the four of us.
Ah.
Right there.
Yeah, no, but
I shouldn't say this, but we were playing Smear the
Yep.
something at the church on the lawn, and we broke a window. And that was the only time I told on us as a group. And we actually offered to, replace the window for them. But that was the only time.
That's different. That was unintentional damage.
Yeah.
Though. Yeah.
well,
muted,
it was
sir.
at the church.
Yeah. I feel like we had to do that. The church, anybody else, we would have been like, meh.
See, I remember once we did something destructive, and I just took it for the whole team and said I wasn't going to say who was with me, but that we would cover the cost. And then everybody chipped in, and I was the only one that they knew had done anything because I didn't tell on my.
They
Just
owe
saying.
you
Well, I already Drew and I
all
had
those favors.
a conversation about which car we were going to go hurt some people. I only have one question: which car are we taking?
Mm-hmm.
You just don't ask questions, and you never tell.
I learned really quick. Don't be the slowest runner.
Right?
Just don't be the slowest runner.
Yep.
Well, or just push someone down.
And then I got mad because the slow ones always seemed to rat on you.
Well,
because they couldn't get away.
I mean, let's just be honest, right?
It was kind of like the bear conversation. If you were in my way, you were done. Like, I'm knocking you down and we're gone. I'm not getting caught.
Well, but they're also kind of, I don't know. I don't feel like they really tried hard to get away. At least in my group, like when we had that one, it was always the victim. Like there was just a certain personality, and it was always like, oh my God, guys, and they froze, and you were like, come on.
I'm the one that stayed in the bush until like dawn because I ain't getting caught. Like I hid
Right,
there.
just
hid there.
hide. Yeah, how hard is it?
Dad's walking around, me and them, and my heart's pounding through my chest. I'm just in the bush, like you ain't eating me.
And your mouth breathing so that
Yeah.
you don't make any noise, because otherwise you're gonna be like, so you're just like, I can't do that. Yeah, well, and part of it is wear decent clothes, right? I mean, again, all the planning thing you talked about, like I just think there's all of that, or someone had not the right footwear, so then they lost a shoe, they couldn't run, and then we had to go back and find that, or they parked too close and they have like a very distinct car.
Yeah,
That was always another dead giveaway too. But I would think, Dee, though, did you grow up out there?
Yeah.
That's got to be hard because some of the houses are like, they're far away. Like you've got to it's like a 2-mile walk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Park
Well,
around the street and like hop a couple fences, and you'd never even know our cars were there.
and so we grew up out in the country, like way out. So we were always, when we were doing hoodlum stuff, it was when we were at our grandma's house because she was right in town.
Okay.
So like all of her neighbors and that,
Getting
like by the
victimized.
middle school. I don't know if you know where that's at, but yeah, that's where we did all of our.
Way to victimize your grandparents' neighborhood.
Yeah.
You damn kids. I can see them right now.
Oh yeah. We did blame our cousin would come visit from Denver, and he was a whiny. And so we would just blame him for everything if anything went wrong, because he would be the one that's like, well, they got me, they did this or they did that. I'm like, no, Brandon. First of all, it was all
Brandon.
yeah, that was his name, and so we just blame everything on him, and he'd go back to Denver traumatized.
Do you hear the tone in that?
Brandon, if
Brandon.
you're watching right now,
Hey,
We blame
Brandon,
you.
wait a minute. Also, fuck you.
send the hate mail to me.
You guys are gonna kill me. I'm gonna die. I'm just seeing that you go to the neighborhood and you wait until there's like 90-year-old women, and then
Exactly.
you're like, right, and the old seniors.
No.
They can't get in the tree. They're like, "What is this? These kids are doing to me."
There were plenty of kids in that neighborhood. We would all get together, and it was just this gang of street youth
Yeah.
running around.
Street youth.
The Delta Street Youth.
Yeah,
Do you guys have a?
Gangy.
Do you have a posse or a name?
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
yeah. You go to the gas station around the corner.
Oh
see
my
what you
god!
can get out
I
of
can
them.
see you
Yeah.
guys doing the jet thing. You're walking down the street because you saw it in a movie. Flashdance or Flashdance.
Actually, I feel really bad about it now. My
Bacon
poor
bread.
grandma was oblivious. She would make us Totino's pizza. We would just come home and like after destroying her neighborhood, she's like, "Here's some pizza."
I thought you were going to say she baked you cookies and stuff. Then I'd feel really
Uh,
good.
I just see them watching Footloose and then going out and like just recreating any movie that they watch in their town. Oh, and poor Brandon. Now he knows he's a bitch because you just said that publicly. Is this the first time he's heard that?
No, we destroyed him as children. He was weak.
Oh, here we go. There's our Billy Madison. With the he's ready to go with that name on the list. D's on there.
Right on. Here's your D.
Yep. Yeah.
Remember that scene? That was the best.
Oh, that was so good.
And his little notebook,
Yep.
crossing people off.
Mhm.
I think it's harder to maybe get away with stuff in a small town because again, you just don't blend in. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I grew up in Arvada, and Arvada was big enough, and there were different parts of it that if you went to like another, like more West Arvada, and if you were more, I mean, you might as well have been in another world because it was, you know, and the houses had so many trees and bushes, and everybody had beater cars in the street. I mean, you could hide anywhere.
The town I grew up in when I was real little, you couldn't get away with anything.
Everybody knew.
Like I was in middle school. Well, it was K through 12, so but I was like in maybe 7th grade,
Super small then.
6th grade or something like that. And I was at my dad's house, and I borrowed his car to drive around town.
Nice.
Did you have a license?
No.
I don't think
Yeah.
that's called borrowing. Just saying. I think that
And
Borrowing
by the
is-
time he got home from work, he already knew because someone ratted me out. Someone seen me in town. But we're talking like a town of like 400 people. Like, I don't know why I thought I was going to get away with it.
Yeah.
well, and I mean, no offense to Drew's past profession, but I feel like when we were younger, our cops were not very in shape.
Mm.
They're not going to really chase you. Like, I feel like they were like,
We didn't even have a cop in our town. It
Well,
wasn't
we
even
did.
a town. It was a
and they'd call the police
It was a
when they were out
village.
doing stuff, but they just didn't really. They were kind of like they'd show up and they'd, you know, slowly walk to the door and ask a question. And maybe it just wasn't worth their time, and so they were like, whatever.
So,
but
yeah.
they just didn't seem like they were real committed.
What
You
I
know?
learned going into the profession, what I learned because I ended up working with those guys, was that they knew we were kids and we weren't doing anything. We weren't doing anything super crazy. But what I found out was they knew more than I ever anticipated they knew.
Okay.
And so they knew what was going on, but they just didn't, like you said, it wasn't a priority back then that it is now.
like, kids be-
Which is one of the challenges in policing was dealing with youth. And you wouldn't be surprised how many times you get a phone call just because they're kids. Like, so if there's kids parked, like, you know, for a while there was really cool to have the trucks all lifted and whatever, and they'd hang out in parking lots together. Oh my word, it would be obnoxious. People are calling like, those kids, what are they doing? They're just sitting there. So it's illegal to be a juvenile now and like sit in a truck and talk to your friends. I mean, so the culture shifted dramatically. So what I found is they knew, and they, like, a couple of them could tell us, oh yeah, we knew exactly what you do. You guys would go over here, then you'd move over to here and have all this stuff. It was like, whoa, you guys paid attention? Yeah, they knew, but it wasn't.
Juvenile sounds like a bad word, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Like, I think that just, I mean, it even has a negative connotation. Juvenile. You're
Mhm.
a juvenile.
That's what I mean. People call me, and there's a juvenile.
Because delinquent usually follows.
Yeah.
Well, because it's
You're
not
not-
anything that has juvenile in it is juvenile correction center,
Yep.
juvenile, whatever.
Juvenile, yeah, you don't usually have a adult delinquent, right? You might
I
have
used to
an adult, but
I used to call the people back, the reporting person. I'd be like, "Did you forget what it's like to be a kid? Like, there's nothing for them to do. There's no place for them to go. There's no,
which is probably my age now. You go, well, when I was a kid, I'm sure you got those, right? We didn't do that. We worked on the farm, and so we didn't have time to screw around. My dad would have paddled my,
But
there's
you
all-
figured out really quickly who you were talking to. Like either, oh, you were the sheltered one. All right, thank you. We're moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's funny. Well, I don't know. I just was thinking about, what we did as kids in summer. And I thought it was very interesting, like what I hear everyone doing now with their kids compared to then. So I don't know.
What's
A lot of
funny is
kids.
I'll use there's an Arvada juvenile thing that has tradition that has never stopped. And I'm heaven forbid I'm advertising this for kids to do it because I'm not encouraging that. But remember the Ward Hill?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So the pumpkins on Ward Hill has never stopped.
Really?
So I don't know how that generation, how it started, and it has never, ever stopped. And so it's hilarious. Every Halloween, so there's a big hill, you guys, in the town. And somewhere it started
Steep hill.
decades ago that they go and they either bowl pumpkins down the hill or they line it on the hill on the backside where the cars can't see it. And so they come down and hit these pumpkins. Every year. It hasn't stopped. Every year.
I still would gun.
decades.
I mean, my dad doesn't watch this, so it's totally fine. I would still gun it up that hill and see if I could get lift
Yep,
when
everybody.
you down on the other side where no tires were not touching. Oh, I would gun that thing. So, and I always think if there's a cop there, I'm done. Cause I mean, you can't, it literally is like this.
Yeah.
Like the hill is like this. It's just insane.
There's been several fatalities there going the other way. So they jump down the hill and that's where they end up losing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I did a lot of donut stuff and stuff with cars. I admit. Becky froze. She looks like she's
She's like,
contemplating.
"What's the mom look?"
Right? It is.
Oh,
a
you
mom look.
kids.
Yeah, right. You stupid kids. Well, on that note, yeah. Well, thanks for skipping out on me the last couple of days. I obviously at least have a little bit more of a voice now, except when Dee makes me laugh that she's going after the geriatrics of the community. I have this visualization now. You're just going to screw it up for me that they're like, "Honey, do you want some pie?" And you're like, "We're coming back."
The best part is like I've been this tall since like 6th grade, so I'm just
You stand out.
beating up on the little old women. Yeah,
But you're so sweet. I cannot imagine that. But I just
The Delta
picturing-
posse.
Yeah, I'm picturing like the jets, the Delta jets, like you're walking down the street here. And then someone's coming from Montrose or another
Yeah.
town.
And you're like, "Who are you?" Yeah.
Yeah, and you're beating in the Dairy Queen parking lot
we did. Yes,
by that Safeway or that King
yes.
Soopers. There's a rival gang. Also, you just lost Becky completely. She was so disgusted with the juvenile.
Yeah.
Juveniles. All right. Well, we hope that you have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow, same place, same time. If you have a great topic that you want us to chat about or something on your mind, just give us a message and a shout out. Otherwise, we will see you and hope that you have a good one.